And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. Well, you've got something to say. You can email us now at the Daily Wrap, and that is dailywrap@newsmax.com. Okay, time for Potluck Rick Unger. You're on camera too. You're up.
You can email us, but you might be subpoenaed if you happen to be a friend of ours. I'm just saying. Okay, here's my question of the day. My question for today is, when is a conservative not a conservative? Now, progressives take a fair amount of guff for sometimes being a little bit hypocritical on the positions that they take, and I accept that. But I saw a story that absolutely amazed me, because as I understand conservatism, and you're all welcome to correct me if I'm wrong, the idea of getting government closer to home is the whole point, right? When you go to the federal government, it's big government putting their heavy hand down on you. Get closer to home. Local government, man, that's where it's at. That is the libertarian way, to be sure, and that's the way the conservatives have always told us that this is the way government can be most effective. So somebody tell me why the governor of Texas yesterday signed into law a bill that removes the opportunity for towns, cities, local government organizations in the great state of Texas to decide for themselves if they want fracking to take place in their town. Now, this all began a few months back, I think it was November of last year, when Denton, Texas decided that fracking was not for them. It just wasn't something that they wanted in their town, and the city council passed an ordinance that banned fracking from the town of Denton. Well, when it comes to oil and gas, apparently, it doesn't work so well for state government. Now, all of a sudden, local government may not be the best thing. So the legislature voted, as we all know, there's a very heavy Republican majority in both houses of the Texas legislature. 2/3 majority in each house, which means it goes into effect immediately. And yesterday, the governor of Texas, Governor Abbott, signed it into law. And he actually made a statement, and I'm not making this up, that this will stop the heavy hand of local government from interfering where they shouldn't. The heavy hand of local government. So if the local government has a heavy hand and the federal government has a heavy hand, apparently only state government can rule with a light touch. Now, can somebody here tell me what exactly is conservative about that?
Brad?
I'll give it a shot, although I agree with part of what you're saying, but your argument is a little bit like the guy who jumps out of the 40th story in a floor 29, goes so far, so good. Eventually hits splat, and here's why. It's not that local versus state versus federal. The principle is less government and more direct individual assertion of control. They stepped in, whether rightly or wrongly. I probably agree more with you than with them.
Yeah, do you think a local government should have that right?
They should, except if it intrudes on individual exercise of rights. So it's a question of getting things closer and closer to people's ability to determine for themselves what they want. So I'm not saying I agree with the policy,
but whose
it's not hypocrisy.
Whose individual rights are being affected? The people who now can't take a bunch of money from the oil companies?
Well, that's the argument. I'm not saying I agree, but the argument is yes, if I want to be able to sell the rights to my land to frack, I should be able to. Now, all of it's really just a colossal deflection, because no one, not the left or the right, really want to talk about the only question.
Aren't you a little bit troubled that the governor of Texas, Mr. Tea Party himself, refers to the heavy hand of local government?
The language is silly. He's a politician. I expect is bad. The real issue is to have the real conversation, which is how do you balance the fact to maximize individual liberty and social responsibility? No one wants to do that.
And what about the rights of the people who own homes near those fracking sites not to have a toxic water and not to have their pets, keel over when there's fracking chemicals coming up? The intense fracking chemicals that are used.
Okay, guys, we have to move on. Unfortunately, this is better. We're all suckers for nostalgia, aren't we? We also love good quality. And network TV, well, it ain't what it used to be, really. That said, I call on all network programmers, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, to do more specials like the one we saw 2 nights ago. And that was I Love Lucy. But first, why not show the last episode of MASH once again? You know the kind of ratings that'll do? It was the highest rated of all time. Show the Fonzie episode jumping over the shark in Happy Days, where he keeps on his leather jacket, by the way. It was a 2-part episode. Richie was happy. The Wonder Years. I'd watch that again just to hear the song alone. And how about, yeah, there he is. Well, old Fred Savage. Look at that. Looks kind of like me when I was young. And then Cheers, of course. Now, you're saying, Conch, all these are in reruns already, so why would I watch it on network television? Because if you package it like DVDs do, where you get specials, interviews with the cast now, right, behind the scenes kind of stuff. Here's what I know. I Love Lucy, 2 nights ago, they run a regular rerun, right? It did twice the number as the Mad Men finale. 6.2 million people watched I Love Lucy on CBS, Mad Men only 3.3 million. It also beat The Simpsons and Battle Creek and Dateline on the other networks as well. People love nostalgia. So maybe not all those shows, but if you do a Seinfeld, a MASH, or a Cheers the right way, it's easy money. You already own the rights to it. Just spice it up a little bit. Anyway, coming up next, how would you like to be Bill Murray to be a panelist on the Daily Wrap? We'll tell you how.